All right, Greg, I'll let you unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
There you go. All right, perfect. Greg, I'll let, how about John Boyle start us off?
Sure, happy to. Yeah, Greg, sorry. Greg, we were talking to your coordinator and he was raving about kind of the whole group, the tight end group and the depth he sees. Just what have been your impressions as a newcomer to that group and all your teammates?
Yeah, it's a good group. It's got a mix of some guys that can do a lot of different things. A lot of versatility. It's got some young guys. It's got some older guys. It's really a good group. I mean, even the rookies, Tyler and Steph, those guys have done a really good job. So it's probably as talented a group as I've been in, from top to bottom. We're getting 6 guys reps, which is probably the most in any camp that I've been a part of, and all 6 guys are really doing a good job and picking up a lot of different responsibilities, picking up a lot of different roles, and they have talent to go along with it. So it's been a fun group to work with. I've enjoyed getting to know these guys, and so far I've been very happy and impressed with the group.
Corbin Smith.
Hi, Greg. Kind of building off that question, I know that this is now your 14th year in the league. You've played on a lot of really good teams, played with a lot of really good players. Where does this tight end group rank compared to some of the others that you have played with in earlier seasons? So much experience and also a lot of youth blended into this group.
Yeah, I mean, it's right up there. As far as top to bottom, every guy in the room being able to go out there and be counted on and be able to be thrown into pretty much any aspect of the offense and be expected to do a good job. It's going to be up there. As you said, I've played with some really good guys, back to my early days when I was young back in Chicago. Was in a really good group then. And, my time in Carolina, we had a lot of tight ends come through there. Some young guys that went on to have great careers. Gary Barnage went on to be 1,000-yard Pro Bowler in Cleveland, and Ed Dixon obviously came here. He had some production when he was with us in Carolina. So we had some guys that came through and were talented. But, this group, as you said, there's some young guys. Jake and Will are just kind of getting into the meat of their careers as younger players, but have some experience. Both of them have played, for over the last couple of years and have been able to kind of show what they can do when they're out there. And Luke is a guy who's been around the league, now a good amount of time. I think it's his 8th year or whatever. So he's been around. He's your typical savvy vet. He understands the offense. He's been in it for 7 years. So he's been really helpful, just, kind of deprogramming the things that I have done for a long time and now trying to kind of readapt to the way things operate here. So, and then as I said, the rookies have really done a nice job. Both Tyler and Steph are pretty talented kids that have a good demeanor to them, a good makeup to them. So it's been a great group to work with.
Jen Mueller.
Greg, do you find yourself wanting more reps than usual at this point in the year to help get acclimated to the offense, or maybe to unlearn some of the stuff that Luke is helping you with?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think, typically in training camp, especially as I've gotten older, we were always very selective with the plays. And, if it was a pass or if it was a look that I needed to get in the run game or pass protection, I was always in there to get it, but I didn't take the extra stuff. And, here I find myself, when you're trying to learn a new system, you can't, I took for granted all the little things that I just came to know, in my time in Carolina. So every time there's things that the first time I do them here is the only time I've ever done them, or it's done a little bit differently than I had done it in the past. So every rep, whether it's a walk-through rep or a jog-through practice or a full-speed team, is so valuable. And finding that balance between, you can't take 80 plays every day, but you need all those reps. You need to see things. You need to mess things up. You need to, hear, Russ say, hey, I was thinking you were going to go flatter there. You can only gain that. You can only gain the real intricacies of playing by playing. And you can study the playbook all you want, and you can ask as many questions, but until you're out there on the field doing it, that's the only way, is to mess it up or do it right and cement it and then learn from it. So that's definitely been kind of unique, wanting, chomping at the bit to kind of get every rep in practice, while also realizing, I'm not 21 anymore, where you can just go for days. So but it's been a fun challenge. I've really enjoyed it. And so far it's gone pretty well.
Michael Sean.
What's up, Greg? How has the tight end, the responsibilities of the tight end's position kind of evolved since you entered the league, and how have you adjusted your game accordingly to kind of fit what those duties are in a modern NFL offense?
That's a very timely question. You guys, a quick promo for my podcast that dropped today, TE1. I'm sure all of you have already subscribed. We dive into that very question you just asked. So thank you, Michael, for asking me that. That was an awesome segue. So make sure all of you include that in whatever you're tweeting or texting or writing right now, and pump that out. TE1 podcast about the evolution of the tight end position. But specifically to your question, it's changed a lot. Offenses have changed. Quarterback play has changed. With the ability of a lot of these quarterbacks, Russ included, to be on the move and break, contain, and be out on the perimeter. Play action stuff and moving, quarterback movement has really entered the league predominantly, in my time here, similar to what we did in Carolina with Cam. So, the responsibilities of the position are constantly changing. And I think that's what makes the position so unique. And, there's really no aspect of the offense that you're not involved in. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it challenging. But that's also what makes it hard. And that's also what makes playing the position physically difficult, but more so mentally difficult. So that's, again, just learning all of those intricacies of a new offense, in most cases virtually, has its challenges. But the position, I don't think, has ever been more popular. I don't think the position has ever been more vital to an offense or to a team. You look around the league, everybody's trying to find one, and they're just late to the game,
Thanks, Greg.
Joe Fan.
Hey, Greg. I'm curious if there's ever been a year where you've been in an offense that operated out of 12 personnel on a regular basis, maybe the advantages you see to that, and if you guys look forward to having the opportunity this year, including you, Dis, and the other tight ends, but also Tyler Lockett and DK.
Yeah, over the years, I've been in offenses that have pretty much done, what you'd imagine. Been in some years that it's been very 11 heavy, like you said, 12 heavy. My time in Carolina, we did a lot of 12. We had a few other tight ends along the way that were kind of my counterpart there, that we would that it just gave us a lot of versatility. We can be in two backs. We could be five wide. We could be both on the line of scrimmage, both off the line of scrimmage. One guy can stand and help with pass protection, and you still get the extra receiver out in the route. So, I've been in systems that have done all of that. How that shakes out here, I think time will tell. I think we got a really explosive, talented wide receiver group. So that's always kind of the back and forth is, to add more at one position, you have to take certain guys off the field, and finding what that balance and what that back and forth looks like, I think is always a challenge. But I think Shadi and the staff here they do as good a job as anywhere I've ever been, and mixing personnels and mixing looks and changing what we show defenses. And so I'm confident that, by the time the season rolls around and we kind of get through all the installs of camp and kind of get all the wrinkles ironed out and see what everybody can do, that, when it's time to put together a game plan, they're going to do a great job putting guys in position to be successful. And whether that's 12 or 11 or 21, or we just don't talk about 10. That's the only thing we don't talk about. We don't talk about no tight ends on the field. We just pretend that doesn't exist.
Brady Henderson.
Hi, Greg. With how long you were in Carolina with Cam, can you help us understand just what that transition is like when you go from one quarterback for so long to another, and what you have to learn about Russ, and just what the transition is like?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, as I try to kind of even internally kind of transition to a new system and new players and a new staff and teammates, it's not so much what's on the paper, right? Like on the paper, routes and all that, there's so much carryover between teams and between offenses. And I've been in a few different offenses with different coordinators. They might call things differently. They might have different words or terminology, but, for the most part, everyone's running similar schemes. I think the personal stuff on the field especially is really the part that just takes reps. It just takes time. there's so much about bringing those pieces of paper and bringing those plays on paper to life that goes beyond anything that you can note down in a notebook, right? There's certain feel, there's certain adjustments, there's certain where after you build up a lot of, confidence in each other and you build up a lot of reps, you both kind of see things the same way. You see the game through the same lens. And the only way to do that is by doing it. It's through walkthrough reps, and it's through full speed team reps. It's through watching stuff together. It's through constant communication. So there's a lot of those things that I'm adjusting to out here. And a lot of the things they do out here are great and are new for me, but are things that I'm excited about doing. But there is a learning curve to that. Breaking. It's not so much learning the new stuff as much as it is like deprogramming the old. And sometimes it can't help but you like resort back to the past. You have like a flashback, and I think that's part of any transition. But as far as working with Russ, it's been amazing. It's been everything you would imagine it would be like working with a guy of his caliber. And just the more reps that we can get together, just from hearing how he runs 2-minute, just terminology, how he signals, how he uses the snap count, how he likes you getting in and out of the huddle, where he wants you on your breaks. Like, there's so much that goes into it, and every quarterback and every player, especially if someone of Russ's caliber, they see things a certain way, and it's on all of us to do it how they see it, not the other way around.
Thanks.
Bob Condotta.
Yeah, Greg. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Greg. I know you played against Jamal Adams when he was with the Jets and you were at Carolina. Just what Brian Steinheimer was just talking about what a challenge he is to sort of defend against from his standpoint, from playing against him and being a tight end and everything. Just how does he change the defense?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about him is, he's a safety and he's listed as a safety, but he has a lot of versatility, especially at the line of scrimmage, to what you could do with him. Whether that's as a pass rusher, whether that's in coverage or in run support, or, there's so many, it's almost kind of very similar to a tight end offensively, where you kind of can wear a different hat on every play. And if you have a guy that can handle those different roles, you can really get creative on how you use them. Well, defensively, the safety position is one of those where he's physical enough to get down in the run game and be an extra defender in the box, to stop a run, but he's also athletic and can cover and can play in space. He can play up the line of scrimmage and guard tight ends and slot receivers and backs. And then you can also, everyone saw what he did in New York. You can send him after the quarterback, and he can rush the passer and get there and get home. There's a lot of guys that are good rushers, but they don't ever typically get home. I mean, he's, for a defensive back, he's as prolific as there is, generating pressure and then, of course, generating sacks from the defensive backfield. So he's a special player. Obviously, there's no doubting that. I think everyone kind of understands when you trade for a player like him, there's a certain expectation of what you're going to get. And so far in training camp, he's been awesome. It's been fun to play against him. He's been great. He's been a great teammate. It's been fun to be around him. I'm glad he's on our team. It's one less safety this year that we got to worry about.
And we'll need to wrap up with Greg Bell.
Hi, sir. The environment out here, the team environment, the practice environment, how different isn't it elsewhere you've been? The coaches jumping around like banshees at the Badgeville, the Wolfen, Jamal Adams, and Wagner at the offense, the meetings, just all of that. How different is that in the NFL?
It is different. It has its own unique culture out here, and I think that's what was so appealing to me, just from talking to guys around the league and coming out here and visiting with Coach Carroll and the staff. I just thought at this stage of my career that it would be a fun change. It'd be something very different from what I'm used to, and it's kind of invigorating and re-energizing to come out to a new environment and see how they've done it out here for a long time. And practice is a lot of fun. There's a lot of energy, as you said. My first day, I was looking around. I was like, "What the hell are we doing?" Like, it's just not something I'm used to, And but it's fun. It's contagious. You find yourself and really enjoying practice, really looking forward to practice. The coaches are into it. The staff is into it. I mean, if you're on the field, everyone at any moment could bust into a celebration. So it's a great climate to be in. They create a lot of positive energy. They create a lot of, I guess positive energy is really just the best way to describe it. And it makes it fun. It makes it competitive. It makes it challenging, but it also makes it enjoyable. And I think guys enjoy coming to work here, and that's been fun. But for the record, I enjoyed going to work in Carolina. I don't want that to be misconstrued.
Right, of course.
That was irrelevant of my time in Carolina, for the record.
Correct.
I could just see that now. Olsen was only having fun now in Carolina. All right, thanks, guys.
You could correct it on your podcast.
Hey, come on now. Help a guy out. TE1. Include it. Let's go. See ya.
Thanks, Greg.